Your greatest enemy is not the person who hurt you, is not the one who betrayed you, lied about you, or tried to stop you from rising. Your greatest enemy is not your past, your circumstances, or even the devil himself. Your greatest enemy is the version of yourself that refuses to become who you were born to be. That enemy lives inside you. And today, we're going to destroy it without throwing a single punch. You see, most people spend their entire lives fighting the wrong battles. They're swinging at shadows. They're arguing with people who don't matter. They're trying to prove themselves to those who will never understand them. And while they're busy fighting external wars, the real enemy is sitting comfortably inside their mind, whispering lies, planting doubts, building limitations. That enemy doesn't need weapons. It uses your own voice against you. Let me tell you something about fighting. The moment you fight, you've already lost half the battle. Because fighting requires energy. Fighting demands focus. Fighting keeps you engaged with the very thing you're trying to overcome. And here's the revelation that will change everything. You cannot defeat an enemy by giving it your attention. You defeat an enemy by becoming so powerful, so purposeful, so aligned with your true identity that the enemy becomes irrelevant. When a lion walks through the jungle, does it fight with every dog that barks? No. The lion doesn't even acknowledge it. Not because the lion is afraid, not because the lion is weak, but because the lion knows who it is. And when you know who you are, you don't waste your roar on things beneath your calling. The dog keeps barking. The lion keeps walking. That's not avoidance. That's wisdom. That's dominance without confrontation. That's how you destroy your enemy without fighting them. But let me be honest with you. Most of you don't know who you are. You've been living your life based on other people's opinions, other people's expectations, other people's fears. You've been wearing masks for so long that you've forgotten what your real face looks like. And that's why you're tired. That's why you're frustrated. That's why you feel like you're fighting battles that never end. Here's the truth. You were not born to fit in. You were born to stand out. You were not created to be normal. You were designed to be exceptional. But somewhere along the way, somebody told you to sit down. Somebody told you that your dreams were too big, your ideas were too crazy, your voice was too loud, and you believed them. You took their limitations and made them your reality. You took their fears and made them your prison. You allowed someone else's opinion to become more powerful than your purpose. You allowed someone else's voice to become louder than the voice of the Creator who made you. And that's the enemy. That's the thing that needs to be destroyed. Not the person who spoke the words, but the power you gave those words to define you. I want you to understand something fundamental about life. Everything created has a purpose determined by its creator. A chair was made to be sat on. A pen was made to write. A seed was made to become a tree. And no matter what anyone says, that seed will never doubt its purpose. You plant it in the ground, cover it with dirt, walk away, and what does it do? It starts growing. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. It just does what it was created to do. But you are different. You have a mind. And that mind can either be your greatest asset or your greatest enemy. Because unlike the seed, you can believe lies about yourself. You can accept limitations that were never part of your design. You can live beneath your potential and call it contentment. You can die with your gift still inside you and call it humility. Now let me tell you how to destroy your enemy without fighting. It's simple, but it's not easy. You destroy your enemy by fulfilling your purpose. That's it. That's the whole strategy. You don't fight the darkness. You turn on the light. You don't curse the silence. You make noise. You don't complain about what's wrong. You become what's right. When you step into your purpose, three things happen automatically. First, you stop caring about the opinions of people who are not going where you're going. Second, you stop competing with people who are not even in your race. Third, you stop being affected by attacks from people who don't have the power to stop your destiny. You are that car, and the Creator who made you knows your capacity. He knows what you can handle. He knows where you're supposed to go. He knows what you're supposed to become. And if He put the dream in you, He already put the ability in you. So when people say you can't, you don't fight them. You just start your engine and move. Your life becomes the proof. Your success becomes the answer. Your transformation becomes the testimony. Listen to me carefully. The permission you're looking for is not coming. The approval you're waiting for is not on its way. The moment you've been preparing for is not in the future. It's now. It's always been now. And the longer you wait for perfect conditions, the longer your enemy wins. Not because the enemy is strong, but because you are inactive. Your enemy is not destroyed by your anger. Your enemy is destroyed by your progress. Your enemy is not defeated by your words. Your enemy is defeated by your work. Your enemy is not silenced by your arguments. Your enemy is silenced by your results. I know some of you are thinking, but you don't understand my situation. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know how many times I've tried and failed. You're right. I don't know your specific story, but I know this. Your past is not your prison unless you choose to live there. Your failure is not your identity unless you refuse to get up. Your pain is not your portion unless you make peace with it. And here's what I've learned from studying great people throughout history. Every single one of them had a choice. A moment where they could either become bitter or become better. A moment where they could either blame their circumstances or change their circumstances. A moment where they could either accept defeat or create victory. And the ones we remember, the ones we celebrate, the ones who inspire us, they all chose the same thing. They chose to rise. Not because it was easy, not because they felt like it, not because someone believed in them, but because something inside them refused to die. Something inside them refused to quit. Something inside them said, this is not how my story ends. That something is called purpose. And when purpose is activated, enemies become irrelevant. When purpose is activated, obstacles become opportunities. When purpose is activated, pain becomes power. Now let me tell you the secret about your enemies. They're not as powerful as you think. Most of them are just as broken as you are. Most of them are just as scared as you are. Most of them are just as lost as you are. The difference is they're trying to destroy you to feel powerful. They're trying to bring you down to feel elevated. They're trying to stop your progress because they've stopped their own. But here's the beauty of purpose. When you're walking in your purpose, you're not in competition with anyone. You're not threatened by anyone. You're not intimidated by anyone. Because you understand that your lane is your lane. Your assignment is your assignment. Your gift is your gift. So when someone tries to stop you, you don't fight them. You succeed anyway. You rise anyway. You shine anyway. Not to prove them wrong, but to prove your purpose right. Your real enemy is not the person trying to destroy you. Your real enemy is the comfort trying to contain you. Your real enemy is not the opposition outside. Your real enemy is the complacency inside. Your real enemy is not the challenge ahead. Your real enemy is the excuse you keep repeating. And how do you destroy that enemy? By making a decision. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. While you're hearing these words, make the decision that mediocrity is no longer acceptable. Make the decision that excuses are no longer valid. Make the decision that your past is no longer in control. Because here's what I've discovered. The moment you decide, heaven responds. The moment you move, doors open. The moment you speak, resources appear. But it starts with you. It starts with your decision. It starts with your commitment. It starts with your willingness to become uncomfortable for the sake of your destiny. Let me tell you about transformation. Real transformation is not comfortable. It's painful. It's challenging. It's scary. Because transformation means leaving behind the old you. And the old you has become familiar. The old you has become safe. The old you has become predictable. And even though the old you is not working, you're afraid to let it go because you don't know what the new you will require. But here's what I want you to understand. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly by adding wings to what it already is. It has to completely break down. It has to dissolve. It has to surrender everything it was to become everything it was meant to be. And in that process, it's vulnerable, it's hidden, it's isolated, but it's also transforming. And when it emerges, it's no longer crawling, it's flying. That's your story. You're not meant to crawl through life. You're meant to fly. But you can't fly while you're still attached to the ground. You can't fly while you're still comfortable with crawling. You can't fly while you're still identified with being a caterpillar. You have to let go. You have to trust the process. You have to believe that what's on the other side of transformation is worth the pain of change. And when you do that, when you fully commit to becoming who you were created to be, something miraculous happens. Your enemies become confused because they were expecting you to fight back. They were expecting you to argue. They were expecting you to defend yourself. But instead, you're growing. Instead, you're glowing. Instead, you're going. And they have no strategy for that, because you can't stop someone who's on a mission. You can't discourage someone who's discovered their purpose. You can't intimidate someone who's encountered their creator. You can't defeat someone who's already decided to win. The fight is over before it begins. Not because you fought, but because you focused. Not because you retaliated, but because you elevated. I've seen this happen over and over again. I've watched people who were written off rise to levels their critics couldn't imagine. I've watched people who were counted out become the ones everyone counts on. I've watched people who were mocked become the ones who make history. And it wasn't because they fought their enemies. It was because they fulfilled their assignment. Your assignment is not to prove people wrong. Your assignment is to prove purpose right. Your assignment is not to get revenge. Your assignment is to get results. Your assignment is not to be understood by everyone. Your assignment is to be obedient to the one who sent you. And when you embrace that assignment, when you live that assignment, when you breathe that assignment, you become unstoppable. Not because nothing can touch you, but because nothing can stop you. Not because you're perfect, but because you're purposeful. Not because you have no enemies, but because you're too focused on your assignment to be distracted by their attacks. Let me give you a principle that will change your life. What you focus on becomes your reality. If you focus on your enemies, they become bigger. If you focus on your problems, they multiply. If you focus on your pain, it intensifies. But if you focus on your purpose, everything else becomes smaller. If you focus on your potential, everything else becomes manageable. If you focus on your promise, everything else becomes temporary. This is why some people with massive problems have massive peace, and some people with minor issues have major stress. It's not about the size of the problem. It's about the size of their focus. It's not about the strength of the enemy. It's about the strength of their vision. It's not about what's happening around them. It's about what's happening inside them. You want to destroy your enemy without fighting? Become so consumed with your calling that you forget who your enemies are. Become so dedicated to your dream that you don't have time to entertain distractions. Become so passionate about your purpose that criticism sounds like background noise. Because here's the truth. Your critics are not your problem. Your compromise is your problem. Your competitors are not your obstacle. Your complacency is your obstacle. Your circumstances are not your limitation. Your mindset is your limitation. And the beautiful thing about mindset is that it can change instantly. You don't need a degree to change your mindset. You don't need money to change your mindset. You don't need permission to change your mindset. You just need a revelation. One truth, one encounter, one moment where you see yourself the way your Creator sees you, and everything shifts. I remember when I discovered that I wasn't an accident, that I wasn't a mistake, that I wasn't random. That realization changed everything. Because if I wasn't an accident, then I was intentional. If I wasn't a mistake, then I was on purpose. If I wasn't random, then I was designed. And if I was designed, then I have a manufacturer. And if I have a manufacturer, then I have a manual. And if I have a manual, then I have instructions. And if I have instructions, then I don't have to figure life out alone. That's when I stopped looking at people for validation and started looking at my Creator for revelation. That's when I stopped asking people, what should I do? And started asking my Maker, what did you make me to do? That's when I stopped fighting my enemies and started fulfilling my assignment. And you know what happened? My enemies got tired, because you can't fight someone who's not fighting back. You can't discourage someone who's not looking for your encouragement. You can't stop someone who's getting instructions from a higher authority. This is the secret of greatness. It's not about being better than others. It's about being faithful to your design. It's not about competition. It's about completion. It's not about winning battles. It's about finishing assignments. And when you understand that, you realize that every enemy is actually doing you a favor. Every critic is actually pushing you forward. Every obstacle is actually preparing you for the next level. Because resistance creates strength. Pressure creates diamonds. Heat creates gold. And opposition creates champions. So don't curse your struggles. Use them. Don't hate your haters. Thank them. Not because they're right, but because they prove that you're doing something significant. Because mediocre people don't have enemies. Average people don't have critics. Small dreams don't have opposition. But when you're called to greatness, when you're assigned to significance, when you're destined for impact, expect resistance. Welcome it. It's confirmation that you're on the right path. But today, I'm giving you permission to stop. Stop fighting people who don't determine your destiny. Stop arguing with people who don't understand your assignment. Stop trying to prove yourself to people who will never celebrate you. Just stop, redirect that energy toward your purpose. Because when you're fighting the right fight, you don't get tired, you get inspired. When you're pursuing the right path, you don't get drained, you get fueled. And this is how you know you're in the right place. You're tired of being tired. You're fed up with being frustrated. You're done with being defeated. That dissatisfaction is not depression. That's destiny calling. That's purpose knocking. That's greatness beckoning. And if you're smart, you'll answer. You'll answer by making different choices. You'll answer by taking new actions. You'll answer by speaking different words. You'll answer by thinking higher thoughts. You'll answer by surrounding yourself with different people. You'll answer by reading different books. You'll answer by praying different prayers. You'll answer by believing different truths. And when you answer, when you truly answer, you'll discover something amazing. The enemy you thought was so powerful was actually powerless. The giant you thought was so big was actually small. The obstacle you thought was unmovable was actually removable. Why? Because you changed your position, you changed your perspective, you changed your approach. You stopped looking at your enemy and started looking at your assignment. You stopped focusing on the problem and started focusing on the promise. You stopped seeing yourself as a victim and started seeing yourself as a victor. And that shift, that internal shift, is what destroys the external enemy. Because the enemy is never just out there. The enemy is always in here first. In your thoughts, in your beliefs, in your words, in your habits. And when you destroy the enemy in here, the enemy out there has no power. When you conquer the battle in your mind, the battle in your life is already won. So let me leave you with this. You are not who they said you were. You are not what happened to you. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are who your Creator says you are. You are what your purpose demands you to be. You are the promise wrapped in flesh. You are the dream given human form. You are the answer to someone's prayer. You are the solution to someone's problem. You are the hope for someone's future. And when you wake up to that truth, when you own that truth, When you live that truth, you become unstoppable. Not because nothing can hurt you, but because nothing can hold you. Not because you have no enemies, but because you have no time for them. Not because your life is perfect, but because your purpose is clear. So destroy your enemy today. Not with your fists, but with your focus. Not with your words, but with your work. Not with your anger, but with your assignment. Not by fighting them, but by fulfilling you. Because the greatest revenge is not getting even. The greatest revenge is becoming exceptional. The greatest victory is not winning the argument. The greatest victory is winning at life. And you will win. Not because it's easy, but because it's your destiny. Not because you're perfect, but because you're purposeful. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're connected to the one who does. Now go, rise, become. The world is waiting for the real you. And your enemy can't stop what your Creator has already ordained. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your season. Don't waste it fighting shadows. Use it fulfilling destiny. Because when you do, you won't have to destroy your enemy. Your success will do it for you. Your peace will confuse them. Your joy will convict them. Your progress will silence them. And your purpose will outlive them all. Now rise and become who you were always meant to be. But let me take you deeper before I release you into your destiny. Because some of you are standing at the edge of greatness, but you're hesitating. You're hearing these words, you're feeling the fire, but there's still a voice in your head saying, but what if I fail again? What if I'm not strong enough? What if they were right about me? And I need to address that voice right now. I need to silence that doubt forever. Here's what you need to understand about failure. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the training ground for success. Every person you admire, every leader you respect, every champion you celebrate has failed more times than you've even tried. The difference between them and the people who never made it is simple. They didn't quit when they failed. They didn't internalize the failure. They didn't make failure their identity. They extracted the lesson, adjusted their approach, and tried again with more wisdom. You see, the problem is not that you failed. The problem is that you believed the failure defined you. You took a temporary setback and turned it into a permanent identity. You took one bad season and declared it your entire life story. And that's the real enemy. Not the failure itself, but your interpretation of it. Not what happened, but what you decided it meant about you. Let me tell you something that will set you free. Your worst moment is not your final moment. Your darkest chapter is not your whole story. Your biggest mistake is not your permanent reality. You are not finished. You are not disqualified. You are not too damaged. You are being prepared. You are being refined. You are being positioned. And everything you went through, everything you survived, everything you endured was not meant to break you. It was meant to build you. Think about a diamond. Before it becomes beautiful, it's just carbon under pressure, extreme pressure, intense heat, overwhelming force. And if that carbon could speak during the process, it would probably cry out, "This is too much. I can't take this. I'm breaking." But what looks like breaking is actually becoming. What feels like destruction is actually construction. What seems like the end is actually the beginning of something more valuable than it could have ever imagined. That's your story. You've been under pressure. You've been through heat. You've endured force. And you thought it was killing you, but it was actually making you. You thought you were being buried, but you were actually being planted. You thought you were being broken, but you were actually being shaped into something precious, something rare, something priceless. And now it's time to shine. Not to prove anything to anyone, not to show off, not to make people jealous, but to fulfill what you were created for. Because a diamond that stays in the dark is wasting its brilliance. A gift that stays wrapped is wasting its purpose. A seed that stays in the bag is wasting its potential. And you You were not created to hide. You were created to illuminate. But illumination requires courage. It requires vulnerability. It requires you to step out of the shadows and into the spotlight. And I know that's scary. I know that's uncomfortable. Because when you step into the light, people see you. And when people see you, they judge you. And when they judge you, they criticize you. But here's what you must understand. Criticism is the price of visibility. Opposition is the cost of significance. Misunderstanding is the tax on greatness. And you have to decide if your purpose is worth the price. You have to decide if your destiny is worth the discomfort. You have to decide if your assignment is worth the attacks. Because if you're waiting for a path with no criticism, you'll never start. If you're waiting for a journey with no challenges, you'll never leave. If you're waiting for a dream with no doubters, you'll never rise. The path to purpose is paved with persecution. The road to greatness is lined with haters. The journey to destiny is filled with obstacles. And the people who make it are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who decided that nothing would stop them. Not fear, not failure, not criticism, not circumstances, nothing. And that's the mindset you need to adopt right now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel better, not when conditions improve, right now. In the middle of your mess, in the middle of your pain, in the middle of your confusion, right now, you need to make a declaration. Not to me, not to your family, not to your friends, but to yourself, to your soul, to your spirit, that you will not die with your music still inside you, that you will not go to the grave with your gift still wrapped, that you will not leave this earth without making the impact you were created to make. Because here's the tragedy I see every day. I see people with incredible potential living mediocre lives. I see people with powerful gifts working powerless jobs. I see people with world-changing ideas sitting in silence. And when I ask them why, they give me excuses. I don't have the resources. I don't have the education. I don't have the connections. I don't have the support. And I tell them the same thing. I'm telling you right now, stop looking at what you don't have and start using what you do have. You have a voice, use it. You have a story, tell it. You have an idea, build it. You have a gift, share it. You have a dream, chase it. You don't need everything to start. You just need something. And that something is already inside you. It's been there all along, waiting, hoping, begging for you to wake up and activate it. And the moment you activate it, the moment you stop making excuses and start making moves, the moment you stop explaining why you can and start showing how you can, everything changes. Doors open, opportunities appear, resources manifest, people show up, favor flows, not because you're perfect, but because you're persistent. Not because you're qualified, but because you're committed. This is what separates the winners from the whiners. Winners don't wait for perfect conditions. They create conditions. Winners don't look for easy paths. They make paths. Winners don't need everyone to believe in them. They believe in themselves enough to take the first step, and then the second, and then the third, until they've walked so far that the doubters are behind them and the destiny is in front of them. Because here's what social media won't tell you. Everyone you see winning is only showing you the highlight reel. They're not showing you the lonely nights, the rejected proposals, the empty bank accounts, the failed attempts, the tears, the doubts, the fears. They're showing you the trophy, not the training. They're showing you the success, not the sacrifice. They're showing you the destination, not the journey. And if you're not careful, you'll think success is supposed to be instant, easy, and painless. And when your journey doesn't match their highlight reel, you'll think something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You're just in the process. You're in the preparation phase. You're in the building season. This is where you develop the character to handle the calling. This is where you build the strength to carry the weight of your destiny. This is where you learn the lessons that will sustain you when you arrive at the next level. So don't despise this season. Don't rush through it. Embrace it. Extract from it. Excel in it. Because the way you handle this season determines how long you'll last in the next season. The habits you build in obscurity are the habits that will sustain you in visibility. Your enemy wants you to waste this season. Your enemy wants you to be bitter about where you are. Your enemy wants you to focus on what you don't have instead of cultivating what you do have. Because your enemy knows that if you maximize this season, you'll be unstoppable in the next season. If you grow in this season, you will dominate in the next season. If you learn in this season, you'll lead in the next season. So destroy your enemy by becoming the best version of yourself right where you are. Destroy your enemy by reading when others are sleeping. Destroy your enemy by planning when others are playing. Destroy your enemy by investing when others are spending. Destroy your enemy by growing when others are complaining. Destroy your enemy by becoming so excellent at your current level that the next level has no choice but to receive you. This is the warfare nobody talks about. This is the battle that determines everything. It's not fought in the streets. It's fought in your schedule. It's not fought with weapons. It's fought with your choices. It's not fought with anger. It's fought with discipline. And the person who wins this battle wins at life. The person who masters themselves masters their destiny. The person who conquers their habits conquers their future. And you can start right now. Not when you finish reading this. Not when you feel motivated. Not when circumstances change. Right now, make one decision that moves you closer to your purpose. Take one action that aligns with your destiny. Speak one word that declares your future. Do one thing that your future self will thank you for. Just one. And then tomorrow, do it again. And the next day, do it again. Until the one thing becomes a habit, and the habit becomes a lifestyle, and the lifestyle becomes your legacy. This is how you destroy your enemy without fighting them. This is how you win without war. This is how you conquer without conflict. You simply become who you were created to be. You simply do what you were created to do. You simply live what you were created to live. And in doing so, you make every enemy irrelevant, every obstacle insignificant, and every attack ineffective. Because when purpose is activated, nothing can stop it. When destiny is awakened, nothing can delay it. When calling is embraced, nothing can cancel it. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your season has come. Don't let fear hold you. Don't let doubt define you. Don't let your past imprison you. Break free, rise up, step out, and become the masterpiece you were always meant to be.